everybody, I'm Tom Vassell.
Mike Delisio.
And today we're going to be going racing in a game called Tornado Splash, which thematically is sort of like, I was about to say Mario Kart, but what's the boat? The boat.
Wave Runner 64.
Wave Runner 64. That's literally what this is. This is Wave Runner 64, the board game, or as I was telling some people, it's X-Wing racing, sort of. Mike's going to show you how it plays.
Tornado Splash is a racing game, and the first thing you're going to do is you're going to choose which course that you're going to play on. They recommend that the first couple of times you play the game, you play with this pretty simple oval course where you're going to have just 2 left turns, a start and a goal, and you're going in this oval pattern. However, there are many different kind of constructed courses they have for you. They also explain to you how you can make your own course with the components that come with the game. But we're just going to show off this most basic and simple oval course. Once you've selected a course, you're going to get a random first player, and then what they're going to do is they are going to choose their boat and their racer. The racers, which are shown along the top, and they have a corresponding little meeple, don't have any actual mechanical function in the game. They're strictly for aesthetics. Where you see the asymmetry is in the boat. So each of these boats are different. They have different stats. Looking at this red boat, one of the things it's going to tell you is the weight of the boat. This is the lightest boat in the game with a weight of 1. As you can see there, it goes up to 6. So it ranges from weights 1 through 6. And the stats you're looking for are up here on the right, top right. You have the speed value, which this is the fastest boat in the game. It goes 5 stars. And then you've got the maneuverability, which is 2.5 stars. How is that represented? Each boat is going to have its own unique deck of cards that you're going to be drawing from when you have that boat. This particular boat is the fastest boat, like I said, so it's going to have more of the straightaway speed cards. You can see these go far up on the card. That's a really fast straightaway card right there. There's another one. So they're going to have more of those. Whereas the boats with the higher maneuverability, like this yellow boat actually has a 2.5 on speed, but a 5 on maneuverability, is going to have a deck that reflects that and have a lot more of these dotted lines, which allow you to play cards at sharper angles, which you'll see as I explain how the racing goes. So people will, in turn order, draft a boat and a racer, and then they're going to go ahead and place whatever combination they tended to choose. You can put any racer with any boat, and once all that is set up, then you're going to set up the start of the race. The way the starting lineup works is that the player that has the heaviest boat, in this case this purple turtle boat, is going to choose one of the starting positions along the line here and place their boat there so that the boat is behind the bracket that you see right there. So maybe they want to be on the most inside lane. They put their boat behind there. And then again, going from highest weight down to the lowest weight, players are going to be placing their boats and their racers in the associated spots and getting themselves ready to start the race. I'll just kind of pop these out here. Hopefully, see, when I do things on camera, it makes it so much more complicated than it would be otherwise. But you get the idea. We're going to do this. The fastest boat's going to probably end up with the outside lane, although maybe they want that. Maybe they want to be on the outside. It gives them some options they may not have otherwise. All right, once that's happened, then you're going to choose you're going to draw your starting deck of cards. The way it works is that the player at the beginning is that the player with the lightest boat draws a hand of 4 cards. So they will be shuffling their hand and they'd be drawing 4 cards. The player with the heaviest boat, which in this case is that turtle boat, will draw 6 cards, and then everyone else will draw 5. So the lightest boat with 6, lightest boat with 4, heaviest boat with 6, everyone else 5. That's only for the starting round of the game. Now that we're good to go, it's going to be played over a series of rounds, and each round is going to have 3 different phases. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to rank racers. They're going to be ranked based on their proximity to the goal gate, and there's going to be certain zones. So this is a straight zone, this is a straight zone. Everything between that line and that line is a curve zone. You have 2 more straight lines, things along those lines. But at the beginning of the game, it's just going to be by the weight because everyone is of equal distance to the goal. So the first one to go would be the red player or the red boat player. So again, they shuffle their hands. They've drawn 4. All right. And now what you're going to do is you are going to play out cards in such a way that you can move your boat up to a maximum of 3 spaces. When we say spaces or movement places, we mean these areas that have brackets, okay? And so when you play a card, at the very beginning, you're going to be connecting it to the starting line of the starting gate here. So this player, the red player, might do this. That would be one card that they played. It would have them moving 1 movement point. This next card has a couple of options. It could be played just straight like this, or it can be placed on one of the dotted lines that are shown on that card. So you have that option. Perhaps they want to start angling more towards the interior line. Now, this is still only showing 2 movements, so they could place another card. They've got these 2 left, and maybe they go for this fastest card that they have. They go ahead and they place it on that dotted line so that they're angling inward a little bit and they're going 3 spaces. So you would go ahead and move it those 3 spaces, making sure to keep your boat behind the bracketed line there. So that would have been the first player's go. Then the second player is going to go and they would do the same thing. The second player is going to be drawing 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they're doing the same thing. Now, there are rules as to how you can play these cards in case there are any types of obstacles in front of them. Obstacles will not be other players' cards. You can freely place cards over other players' cards. So, for example, I'm not saying this player would want to do this, but let's say they went ahead and they did this, and then they played this card here, so they're kind of connecting the middle lines along that dotted line, and then maybe they wanted to go ahead and do, well, they'd already be moving 3, so they would just stop there, actually. They would go 1, 2, and 3. But they could have kept going across that. When I'm talking about blocking is when it would hit another player's piece. So like in this case, if I placed this here, it would hit that player's piece. So I could not do it just there, but what I could do is as long as it's within the width of the card that you're playing it from, you can place it along that line so that it doesn't actually hit the piece. So again, I wouldn't be able to do this in the same turn because this would be moving 4 unless I happen to use my one-time per game ability on my racing card and decided to flip it and move 4 spaces instead of 3. Everyone has that ability. It'd be very unlikely to do at the beginning of the game, but let's say they did just to show you this, and you can move it there. So you can slide cards along the lines if needed, only if you would be impeded otherwise. So there's some rules along those lines. If things get completely covered, there are rules to handle that. But generally speaking, you're going to be placing out cards. You're going to be going up to 3 movement points. You never have to go the full 3 if you don't want to. Many cases you're going to want to. And then you're going to race trying to get all the way around. Now, if you ever run out of cards in your deck, say you've placed all of these cards and you need to get more cards, what you're going to do is you're going to get them from the back of your trail and then start replenishing them to give you a new kind of deck of cards. So you're going to do this until the first player is going to cross this line by playing a card that would have done so for them. Maybe they play something like this that allowed them to get there. They're across the line. Once you've done that, you're going to go ahead and place yourself on the podium, the ranked podium. Let me get it out of this little baggie here. And you can place it on there, okay? First, second, and third, although you'd probably be placing them like this if it was stood up. You get the general idea there, okay? And so the first 3 would get ranked, and then beyond that, everyone else would tie for last place. All right, let me just show you a little bit while I'm talking here of what it looks like in action. This is footage of a game that was actually taking place at the Dice Tower Retreat, so you can get an idea of how things will look when the different cards are being placed and the different racers are on the track at the same time. Again, you can play over multiple different types of tracks, but that's the general idea behind Tornado Splash.
Tornado Splash starts off with something that is fun, but I dislike. So hear me out
Okay.
here. I want to be clear. I like the games, that I'm not trashing the game, but it gives you these racers, and they're like, put that racer, slide that racer on the boat, and you're like, oh, that's cool. Each boat is different. They have different weights. They have different decks. Like, and what does the racer do? Well, nothing. It doesn't matter which racer you pick. And I felt like that was a huge missed opportunity here to have the racer do something. And of course, maybe that's an expansion or something, but I wish there was a way that racer changed the boat.
I totally get that. The asymmetry, such as it is, which is pretty minor in the game, comes with the boats. You're really drafting the boats, and the racers are just a cute accessory to put on them. They don't have any, mechanical value to the game at all. And I do agree that would be something that I would love to see if the game does well enough in an expansion. But it would have been nice to be there just to have some little kind of thing that the racer can do for you.
Now, you notice that me and Mike are reviewing this game, and one person not in this review is Z, because I would never show this game to Z, because I know Z's opinion on templates. And you got to go into the game knowing that. This game uses templates where you put the card end to end, or you put it on the line. But then they have these little rules and say, if your card's going to run into another racer, which will happen a lot since you are, well, racing. You could tilt it a little bit one way or the other. And I'm all cool with that. And you have to play with people who are all cool with that. But you have to know that going in, because if you're an exacting person, this game will drive you nuts. That being said, the waves as you build these tracks around the board is one of the most visually satisfying things I've ever seen in a game. I was like, oh, so that's the exact path I took. It feels so cool to see that.
Yeah, it's a really, really neat kind of component that is functional, but it also serves an aesthetic purpose that really helps drive home the thematic element of this game, because you're essentially just laying cards on a table. And as you mentioned, you have to be okay with a little bit of messiness, because it's going to get messy, especially at higher player counts. You're going to have cards kind of all over the place. And as you mentioned, they give you some kind of a variant so that you can kind of slide the cards a little bit if they are, going to be in the path of another racer that's actually physically on the track in front of you. And if you're okay with that, and the group is okay with that, it really ends up creating this beautiful display on your table where, as you mentioned, Tom, it's almost like you can see the path that you made through these tracks. And because you can build your own tracks, the one they suggest you start with is a simple oval, but you can really build tracks in almost any configuration you like. It creates this really beautiful visual on the, as you go through the game.
I do wonder that by building the tracks, you have to be cautious on that, I would imagine, because the more curves your track has, it's going to favor some racers over the others, because some racers do better in the straightaways. They have more cards that allow that. So I would keep that in mind. For me, I'd be hesitant to break from any of the tracks they suggest for that reason. But I also don't think this is a game that you're going to take particularly seriously. You want to do it. You want to have fun, and you want to win. But as many race games go, there will come a point, unless it's really, really close, you might be like, well, Bob has it. Or I'm never going to make it around this final turn in time to even catch up. But because you have wave cards that are pretty far behind you, you have that satisfaction of what you've done, and the game doesn't overstay its welcome.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think that this is a strictly, firmly family weight game. It's going for a particular type of audience, and to its credit, its presentation is going to be appealing to that audience. It's also going to be appealing to nostalgia-loving adults who just, have this, to me, it's just like, oh my gosh, this is exactly kind of this feeling I want out of the game. When I look at the cover, I look at the back of it, and I see these little wave runners and the cards. The actual experience, lines up with what I was hoping for, and to me, that's to its great credit. You can't take it too seriously. It's a silly, wacky racing game. It's one where you're kind of hoping for crazy comebacks. Even if it's against you, you're still so satisfied with it. You want those feelings, those points of excitement that you can get, and to its credit, you can have those. I've seen some crazy comebacks. I've seen people able to just play a perfect combination of cards that lets them kind of thread a needle and get ahead. Those are the kinds of things I was looking for, and thankfully I've found them in several plays of the game.
So for me, at the end of the day, this is a diversion style game. It's a fun thing to do. I'm not going to take it uber seriously. I'm not going to be silly. I'm going to play it and try to win, but it's something fun. So this is a good... Filler is a strong word because the game could take 40 minutes, depending on the size of the track. But I enjoy it. The visual effect is really high for me. I'm giving it a 7 because it's not a game I'm going to want to play all the time, but I'm amused by it. I love how it looks, and I think a lot of people are going to have fun with it.
Yeah, I'm quite a bit higher. I'm actually coming in at 8.5. I have run this with so many different groups of people, and I will say this. As a disclaimer, I have gone through great trouble when I have approached groups with this to explain what type of game it is. I think that is important. If you're introducing this to a group of people, there are going to be some people that bounce off this hard. You mentioned Z as an example, and that's because he really likes exactness in games. There are going to be people that do not like this game because they don't like the messiness. They want something that is much more structured and controlled, and this isn't. This has a high amount of kind of craziness, but if you've got the group that wants that type of experience, man, have I had some great plays of it. And so maybe keep that in mind. It's not going to be for every player. It's not going to be for every group. But for the ones it's for, man, does it deliver. So 8.5 for me.
Well, there you go, folks. That's Tornado Splash. I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Mike Delisio.
Let's go racing.
Woo!
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you like this review or whatever you just watched, wasn't it amazing? Check out our channel, Dice Tower. We have all kinds of things. We review games, we do top 10s, we play games live. It's all about board games, but especially the people who play them. Check out Dice Tower YouTube channel.